What up, though, man? It's your boy Motown Chris, man, back with another one, man. Special treat for you guys. I'm actually live, right? So, um, live episode, man. We're gonna run through some things real quick. Preseason game one of the preseason is in the books, so we got some things to talk about. Try and get out of here quick, 30 minutes or so, so we can all get to the Olympic gold medal game. I know everybody wants to take a look at. So, but yeah, but before we get started, man, please make sure you like, share, subscribe. Um, help build me up, man. Help build the channel up, man. If you like the content, like, subscribe, share it with your people, get some more people in here, man, so I can keep bringing y'all this wonderful Lions content for y'all. But without any further ado, man, let's go ahead and get into it, man. So week one of the preseason is in the books. Lions lost to the Giants 14-3 in New York. It was a little bit of a rainy game. Um, that's never really any excuse. The weather is always, it's weather. It's whatever. But as expected, a lot of most of the ones didn't get any run. Couple of the rookies who are projected to be like starters, like Terrion Arnold, Enos Rakestraw, they saw some game time in there. But you got to get the rookies out there, let them get a feel for the game. So they didn't stay in there long, maybe like one or two drives, and then they came out, and then it was down to the second and third strings, and so on and so forth. Saw a lot of things that I'm not really too worried about. Um, a lot of things I want to change as a Lions fan. Um, some things I would like to see. I don't want to point it out as a problem right now, but I would like to see like how we address this certain issue moving forward. What up, E? Appreciate my man down brother right there. Appreciate you. I want to see some things happen. So let's talk about it, right? So first and foremost, I want to talk about the quarterback play, right? Um, it was Nate Sudfeld and Hendon Hooker who are competing for the QB2 spot behind Jared Goff. Nate Sudfeld got the start, played the first half, and then Hendon Hooker started the second half. Nate Sudfeld, I'm not impressed. I understand that he's not like a elite quarterback, right? Because if he was, then he wouldn't be competing for a QB2 spot, right? But there's just some things that like your QB2 needs to be able to do on a consistent basis to shore up that quarterback spot, right? He was inaccurate. Uh, his pocket awareness was very, very subpar. You got to know when that pocket is collapsing. You got to know when to let the ball go. You got to know when to roll out and get out of there. And I didn't see a lot of that from Nate Sudfeld. I saw a lot of standing in there, holding on to the ball too long, not really diagnosing the play fast enough. You get what I'm saying? And it resulted in a lot of sacks. We ended up getting knocked out of, field goal range, or we end up, losing yards and ended up having to punt. We really didn't see the red zone. I think we saw the red zone maybe two or three times the entire game, right? The one time we did get down there in the red zone, it wasn't even from a complete pass from Nate Sudfeld. He got bailed out with the pass interference. So the accuracy wasn't where I wanted it to be. The decision making in the pocket wasn't where I wanted it to be. And I'm not too sold on the Nate Sudfeld train yet. Hendon Hooker got in, and I've been waiting to see Hendon Hooker since we drafted him. I know he was dealing with coming back from an ACL tear in college. We drafted him, knew he wasn't going to see anything that first year. Basically, like the commentator said, he redshirted. You know what I'm saying? So this was his first game time action, and he got two drives in before he got hurt. And in those two drives, I liked what I saw from him more than what I saw from Sudfeld. Um, He's a mobile quarterback, which might need to change a little bit, seeing as how the condition of how he got hurt. And I'll talk about that in a second. But he is a mobile quarterback. Um, he was able to read the plays quicker than Nate Sudfeld was. Um, I don't want to say it was an accuracy issue because he was getting the ball to the receivers. I think he just had a little bit more zip on his, and the receivers weren't, because they got to the receivers. He really didn't like overthrow anybody. He didn't underthrow anybody. He didn't throw behind. It was kind of, it was, they were there. It's just, I think it was a little too fast. Receivers weren't able to, you know, key the ball in. But from what I saw, in just two drives that he had versus all the drives that Nate Sudfeld had, I definitely like Hendon Hooker to be QB2. There's still two more preseason games, um, and don't know if we'll see Hendon Hooker in the second game, due to him being having a concussion. Um, so we'll see about that. I don't know who else they'll have behind Nate Sudfeld, or if they'll just start Jared Goff in the next preseason game against the Chiefs for like a drive or a quarter, and then Nate Sudfeld will get the rest of the reps. That has yet to that remains to be seen. So we'll look forward to that. What up, Sports T? Y'all, hey, shout out to Sports T, Dominique. Y'all go subscribe to her podcast, man. She got real good basketball takes, real good sports talk over there. So y'all make sure y'all go check her out over there on Sports T. Appreciate you stopping by, showing love and support. So outside the quarterbacks, one of my issues is our wide receiver depth, right? Who's gonna be the guys behind St. Brown and Jamison Williams? Um, there was we have Donovan People Jones still. I think we signed him to either a 1 or 2 year deal. So we have Donovan Peoples Jones still. Antoine Green, he's been a float around guy for a couple of years, I think. And but he also ended up with a concussion as well. So we got a lot of injuries racked up just from this week in joint practices and the preseason game. Um, so it's kind of hard to catch a gauge on how the wide receiver room is going to look. We had a guy, I believe his name was Williams. He kind of stepped up big in that receiver role. I want to say he's number 84, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But he stepped up, made a lot of good plays. Um, I'm gonna keep my eyes on him as somebody to see to add to the room. I think that's like really one of the only glaring issues we might have, um, is maybe the wide receiver depth. Um, I know that with the way Ben Johnson calls plays, we could see a lot of uh 3 to 4 wide receiver sets. It might be more two receivers, two tight ends, anything like, who knows how Ben Johnson might call it this year. Um, but I do think that, just for the sake of, God forbid injury, right? You need a deep wide receiver room. Um, yeah, wide receivers are in demand. Um, and there's a couple of them that are on teams that they don't seem like they want to be there anymore, and we still got cap space. So I think we should, try to go, talk to at least, open up some conversations, man. Talk to some of these teams, see what they need, see what they want, see if we can't maybe land, Brandon Ayuk. I think Brandon Ayuk would be dope, but they're, 49ers are kind of asking for a ticket back. Um, and I just don't know who I'm willing to part ways with to go pick up Brandon Ayuk. So, but I trust Brad Holmes. I trust his decision making when it comes to, like drafting talent and seeing what's out there. So, um, maybe this wide receiver room changes by the time the season starts, or changes before the trade deadline. So, we'll see what has to be what happens there. Hey man, listen. Shout out to Man Down Sports, man. Listen, 15-2. Well, it is possible. It is not impossible, but it was a little bit of some fandom, right? We'll get into that in one of the later segments. I'll go through the schedule for you guys as well. And you're gonna stop playing, stop playing with my podcast name, man. Um, so yeah. Now some positives. There was a running back, and I'm probably about to butcher his name, Sion Vaki. I liked what he showed. Right, he wasn't scared of contact, wasn't scared to go up the middle. Um, Extended a lot of drives, got some real clutch first downs. Um, Made some plays out of the backfield. I can see him, and I think they're gonna have like four running backs on the roster probably. Jameer and David, of course. They'll probably bring Craig Reynolds back because he's a pretty good utility back. Um, to give Jameer and David a breather, right? But this Vaki kid, man, he impressed me. He impressed me with what he did on Thursday. So I'm gonna continue to look for him in these next coming preseason games, just to see, like, if it's a fluke, if it was because it was the Giants or whatever, or is this something that we could possibly implement in the future of that running back room. On defense, though, defense was the biggest issue for us last year, right? So that was the number one thing that we addressed in the offseason. Of course, like I said, the ones really didn't get any play, so we didn't see Carlton Davis, we didn't see Amik Robertson, but we did see a little bit of Terrion Arnold and Enos Rakestraw, right? Just a little bit, and then like I said, the twos and threes got in as well. Um, the defense is better. I don't really want to hold too much stock in preseason, but defense was a little bit better. They were better in coverage. They were better as far as like keeping things from going over the top. It wasn't too much really. I mean, we held it to 14, and the only reason why I think New York really even got those 14 points was because, like I said, we were turning the ball over, or we were having to punt uh very, very, deep in our own territory, which gave New York a short field, right? And of course, when the defense has to, go right back out on the field, they're a little bit tired. They might let some plays happen, but uh, those 14 points were scored in the first half. It was 14-3 at halftime, and then that was the score at the end of the game, right? So the defense definitely looked a little bit more polished. Um, like I said, still first game. It was first preseason game. None of the ones played. That was all your backups and your third stringers fighting for uh, position on the team. So it remains to be seen what the full capability of, and just like the Giants, you didn't see the full capability of them, right? So everybody's kind of still holding the cards close to the chest, and it's a lot to be seen remaining, right? But it's promising. It's very promising. So saw a lot of things of, don't let the score uh be indicative of the totality of the team, right? Like I said, it's preseason and everybody was, pads on for the first time and under the lights. So not really much to hold stock to, but there was some things I need to see addressed, and there were some things that I saw some positives of. So I'll be looking for that moving forward. Moving on, right? Um, oh man, my thing is tripping. Internet acting slow. Sorry, y'all. So moving on. There was joint practices. NFL does joint practices now before these preseason games, which I think is dope until it isn't, right? So I don't know what it was. I don't know if testosterone was at an all-time high. I don't know if it's just because of the excitement of having pads back on. But leading up to the preseason game against New York, There were about 8 to 12 physical altercations, actual fights between the Lions and the Giants. So much so, it resulted in a $200,000 fine for both the Lions and the Giants, and a memo sent out to the entire league about basically code of conduct and how to behave and operate. Um, there was a lot. There was a lot going on. But in the joint practices, a lot of people were saying, um, some of the corners were getting beat over the top. Um, on both sides, it was like, Malik Neighbors was doing this or so and so was doing that. Jameson Williams was cooking there. So it was like it depends on what side you get your information from is where, yeah, and there's always three sides to a story. One side, the second side, and the truth, right? So nobody kind of really knows exactly what really going on. And you can't get too much uh they don't let you like why unless you go to the training camps, you don't really get to see you only get to see like little clips, right? So you don't get to see the full impact of training camp. You don't get to see every play that happens in training camp. Um we, we'll get into that. We'll like I said, we'll get into that for sure. Um and this man just keep testing me, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the beef is, man. Well, I'm gonna have to take you to a Lions game so you can see just the brilliance in person, man. So you can stop hating. Um, but so in training camp though, we did get some injuries. We got some injuries from the preseason game as well. Um, we lost a tackle in Connor Galvin with a torn MCL, so he's out for the season. Sam Laporta was questionable for the game, dealing with some hamstring issues. I don't think it's anything long term. Um, hey, you know how crazy that would be? I should take a little bet to Vegas and just see what happens. That would be dope. I think I would be beside myself if that happened. Um, but so Sam Laporta dealing with a hamstring issue. I don't think it's nothing too much to harp about. James Houston though, um, one of the guys I was looking forward to seeing last year, and he was dealing with some injuries. Is dealing with another injury. He got a bone bruise that he suffered from the preseason loss to the Giants. Of course, like I said, Antoine Green and Hendon Hooker are dealing with concussions. We'll just see how long that takes for them to clear. See if they even suit up for the next one or not. Um, Injuries, and then Emmanuel Mosley, we lost him at the beginning of camp with a torn pec. So we lost. We didn't even have him last year. We lost him. Excuse me. We lost him at the beginning of the season last year. I can't remember what injury it was. I want to say it was ACL. Lost him to an ACL last year, and now a torn pec. Um, so I'm kind of glad that we shored up the secondary, um, because now we don't have to unfortunately his injury, and I hope he recovers, gets a full recovery, and comes back soon. But now we don't have to hang our hat on him. Right, that was the problem last year because Cameron Sutton ended up having to move into the CB1 position to cover for Emmanuel Mosley, and Sutton really wasn't doing enough against the other team's number one receiver. So now we got some depth in the secondary. I think we'll be okay minus Mosley. Um, like I said again, everything is different once the lights come on and we're actually in game mode. So we shall see about that. Um, but as far as camp goes, man, there's still some standouts, right? Jameson Williams is still looking like he's in another gear, which is good to see. Amon Ra's doing Amon Ra things. The usuals are doing what they usually do, right? Jared Goff is putting the ball on the money. Jameer Gibbs is, I think Jameer Gibbs really takes another step up this season and becomes a top 5 running back in the league. I definitely think that him and David Montgomery are the best running back duo in the league. Um, Unless you want to count Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. But as far as true running backs, I think they're the best running back duo in the league. and they almost had they were almost 1,000 apiece on the ground last year. So I think we can definitely duplicate that and surpass that this year. Especially, we didn't lose anything on the O line. Same O line, one of the best O lines, if not the best O line in the league. Especially now that Jason Kelsey retired in Philly, we might definitely be the best O line in the league. So um, I'm very hopeful. I just know some of these injuries got to get, man, injuries is going to be the death of the team, honestly. So we just got to make sure everybody stays healthy. It's a long season. 17 games. Uh, and season permitting, we make it to the playoffs. It's even longer, right? So we just got to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do, keep everybody healthy, and I think we'll be okay. Now, for the everybody, going in the, saying what they talking about for the our record, what I'm saying. Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So here we go. I have oh man, I am tripping tech savvy. So here we go. This is our schedule, week 1 through week 18. Um, I'm gonna go down and predict these games, right? I did this on Man Down Sports yesterday. Um, y'all just go watch that one to see how that one went, right? I'm not gonna give y'all no hints of spoilers. Y'all just make sure y'all go watch that episode. It's on my page as well. But definitely go check out Man Down Sports. Drop a like and subscribe over there if you're not already to see that latest episode and see how we talked about our schedule. Now, let's get into it real quick. So Lions Rams opening weekend, Sunday night football at the house. There's no way we lose that, right? So boom. I got us winning that one. Week 2, still at the crib. We got the Buccaneers coming back. So we got 2 playoff rematches back to back to start the season, and they're both at the house. I love it. I love us to take that game as well. So yes, why is it not clicking? There we go. Give me us against the Buccaneers, right? Then when week 3 we go on the road to see Arizona. I don't think anybody is impressed by Arizona, not even Arizona Cardinals fans. So give me that one as well. So that gives us 3-0. Week 4, Monday Night Football. Calvin Johnson's induction into the Pride of the Lions at halftime that game. The Seahawks give us some problems. We played the Seahawks, I think, 2 of the last 3 years, or maybe all 3 years in a row. But we owe them one for sure. And I think, not to take anything away from Seattle, but like I said, I think our biggest issue was the secondary. I think we've gotten better with that. And I think we can hang with them boys out there on the outside in Seattle. So I got us winning that one. 4-0 going into the early bye week in week 5. Right. Week 6, here's one that a lot of people have been split on. Dallas in Dallas, week 6, right? Watching what Dallas has done in the offseason, it's not impressive, right? What have they done? They lost their running back. They came back with Zeke, who is a shell of his former self when he was in Dallas the first time, right? And Deuce Vaughn and I can't remember the other one. There's another one that they got. But I don't trust their run game. And then you got CeeDee Lamb, who is sounding like he don't want to be a Cowboy anymore, right? So the threat of losing your number 1 receiver, no running game to be found. We had one of the best run defenses in the league last year. So whoever you got back there at running back, good luck. And then there's a little bit extra on it because of what happened last year. I got us taking that one as well against Dallas. So that's a 5-0 start, right? And that is not impossible to see. I mean, look how the season starts, right? Rams, Bucks, Cardinals, Seahawks, Cowboys. It's not impossible to be 5-0, right? But for the skeptics, right? Maybe they see it 4-1, we lose to the Cowboys, right? But still, 4-1 could probably still have us atop of the division through the first 5 games, right? Moving on to week 7, the Vikings don't know who's going to be your quarterback. And whichever one you pick, Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy, I don't trust it, right? Give me the Lions. So now we're 6-0. We're sitting at 6-0. Then we got Tennessee in week 8. I just don't think it's enough in Tennessee to but this could be a trap game, right? So trap games are real. We know that they happen, right? Especially now that we're if this is how it goes, we're sitting at 6-0, right? Um so you know what? I will give this one to the Titans. I'll call it a trap game, right? We lose that one. So now we're 6-1. Right. In my mind, I don't think we lose that game, but I will play the trap game. Right. So we're 6-1. We lose to the Titans. Then we got this is now I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'll give the trap game, right? I'll give the trap game. Fuck it. So um now we got Green Bay in Green Bay. Now Green Bay has taken a huge leap forward, right? Last year they had a terrible start, but it's not about how you start; it's about how you finish, right? They ended up, going crazy in the second half of the season. Jordan Love found his stride. I think he had like 18 touchdowns against one pick through the last like 8 games or 10 games of the season, right? So, Jordan Love was balling, got his contract. You know what I'm saying? He's got his receivers; they're both healthy. Romeo Dobbs, Christian Watson. He got Josh Jacobs in addition to the backfield, replacing Aaron Jones, which I think for them is an upgrade as long as Josh Jacobs can stay healthy. This is going to be a big test. Seeing Green Bay twice this. Seeing Green Bay both times this year, right? I'm gonna give them this one in Lambeau. Um, it's gonna be tough. That stadium's gonna be rocking, especially depending on how their season goes leading up to that. What their record is, I'll give Green Bay that game in Green Bay. So now we're what 6-2. Then we got Houston in Houston in week 10, right? Them boys is special uh down there in Houston. I'm excited. That's one of the teams I'm excited to watch outside of my own, just because they're dynamic, right? And they just added a running back in Joe Mixon that can really open up that offense. D'Amico Ryans is doing amazing down there. CJ Stroud, he's a bucket. You know what I'm saying? He's what I think third in preseason odds to win MVP. So them boys are serious, man. I think that's a close one. We might lose that one. So I'll put it on the books that we lose that one. Now we got ourselves a little 3-game losing streak, right? No big deal. We got some games we can to bounce back from that from, right? So now we sitting 6-3, right? Then we go back to the crib. Jacksonville coming in. It's Jacksonville. I don't really think they got anything going on down there. So we'll take that one. Now we're 7-3. Then we go on the road to see the Colts. They're on the come up. They're supposed to be healthy, but let's see because this is week 12 now, right? Let's see if Anthony Richardson makes it to this point in the schedule. Let's see if Jonathan Taylor makes it to this point in the schedule. Because Indianapolis has a very, very bad injury history over the last couple years, right? But regardless, I'm gonna take us for that. So that has got us sitting at what's that? 8-3, right? 8-3 going into our first matchup against the new look Bears, right? Caleb Williams, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze on top of DJ Moore. They added DeAndre Swift in the backfield, right? But Matt Eberflus is still the coach. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. I can't throw him nowhere, right? So give me the Lions against the Bears. And I think that's actually Thanksgiving. That is Thanksgiving, right? That is Thanksgiving. Lions, Bears. Um, we beat the Bears at home on Thanksgiving. And then right behind that, On another Thursday night game, we got Green Bay again at the house. I say we split Green Bay and we win at home. Um, so now we are 10-3, right? 10-3 going into the home stretch of the season where we got the Bills coming to the house, seeing what the Bills lost. Um, I think they take a huge step back this season, and especially this late in the season. Um, I like us against the Bills, right? Um, Chicago and Chicago week 16. I'm inclined to be generous. I don't know why, but maybe we split with Chicago. Maybe. Um, so I'll give him that one. Now at this point, probably in the season, we get to this week 17 matchup against San Francisco. Uh, the number one seed is possibly on the line, right? NFC Championship rematch. It's in California. Um, we don't know what their situation is with Brandon Ayuk. That situation is changing daily. Um, so we don't know what that is. But like I said, regardless of what they got going on, we've gotten better, right? So we're not the same team that we were in that NFC Championship game. We've gotten better from that. And I think we've also learned from our mistakes in that game. And I think we go in there and we get it back in blood. So we beat San Francisco in San Francisco. Um, and possibly lock up the number one seed. Now I don't know. I don't know what the Eagles do. I don't know what the Cowboys do. I don't know what honestly, I don't know who else is even a threat in the NFC outside of those teams. Honestly, maybe Green Bay, LA. I don't know. So I don't know what those teams do, but um, in theory, this game could determine the number one seed in the NFC. Right. So say we win this game and we lock up the number one seed, like it's locked. Right. There's no way regardless of what happens in the last week of the season, we go into the playoffs the number one seed. They'll probably sit everybody in this last game against the Vikings, right? Um, that being said, I think the Vikings are still terrible, right? So even with the backups, we possibly could still win that game. Now, the last 2 weeks is very tricky when it comes to um, what could happen, right? It could be we lose to San Francisco and we still might have a chance at the number one seed, or whatever the case is. Then we might play the starters in the last week against the Vikings. It just either way it could go it's tricky those last 2 weeks, right? The schedule makers did a real good job of placing that one right there where it matters. But as it stands right now, that is 13-4, possibly number one seed. Um, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with 13-4. It's an improvement from last year, which was 12-5. And we've improved steadily over the Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes era. 3-13, 9-8, 12-5, right? So if 13-4 happens, it's still progress. It's still improving, right? Even if we get 12-5 again, I'm kind of cool with that. It's a playoff spot for sure, right? I don't think you get 12-5 and you don't make the playoffs, right? So that's just my little rundown of what I think the schedule will be like. Um, yeah, it's not too out the realm of possibility that we could go 13-4. That's more realistic than the 15-2. Like I said, 15-2 was it was more fandom than anything, right? But then again, also like you go through the season, you don't know what injuries happen, you don't know, trades or anything that happens that changes the look of the team. So it'll just be that's just my prediction based off of what I know of the teams as of today. That is my prediction. 13-4. It's solid. That is that is actually elite. 13-4, I think is considered elite, right? Once you get into like the 12 or 13 wins, then you're pretty elite, right? So we'll just have to wait and see. It's a long season, man, but I will be here for all of it. I will be here for the entire season. We can, go through this together, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, and wherever this takes us and wherever it goes, right? So I ran over my time just a little bit. I'm not gonna be able to get to that week 2 preview against the Chiefs. But I will talk about it after it happens, right? So come back here next week, man. We'll talk about it. I might even have my dogs on, man, so we can talk about it together. My guys from Kingdom Come podcast, actually. So my co-hosts on Man Down that are Chiefs fans, Eric and Jay, they're gonna be doing their thing with the Kingdom Come podcast. So make sure y'all go check that out. Kingdom Come Sports, at that on YouTube. Get ready for that to happen. I might see if they want to come on next week and we can chop up what we saw from the preseason game, especially if the ones get some run out there. So, but for sure, man. Hey, appreciate y'all for sticking around. Make sure again before you get out of here, like, share, subscribe. Help me build this up, man. I'm just a Lions fan talking Lions stuff to anybody who will listen, right? So, but until next time, man, I'll catch y'all on the flip, man. Peace.